Hey guys, how you doing? Kito here. Lately I've been getting a lot of questions and messages asking about how often I drill or what I drill and stuff like that in my training. And usually they're fairly surprised at the answer, and the answer being I haven't drilled in almost a year. I haven't really done any time drilling. And if you've ever been to a class that I run, or if I've ever been in your class, you'll notice I don't spend much time doing the techniques and a lot more time in the specific training or in the roles and stuff like that. And there's a reason to my madness. Um, if we look at drilling, okay, so let's say we talk about drilling, and the way most people do it is you drill a certain technique, and you might drill it, 50 or 100 times, and then you'll change technique and do something else. Now that's really good for developing muscle, muscle memory and being able to do things without thinking, because after a while you develop that same technique so good that you don't need to think when you're actually applying it, which can be good and also can be really bad. Okay, the reasons why it's good is you develop the right movement for the technique you're trying to do, so you start understanding that a lot better, and which can help in competition. The things where it can come unstuck is that you can become predictable, and depending on how you drill, you will become set in a certain pattern, which if your opponent recognizes that, or the opponent reacts differently to who you're drilling on, or is a different size, it can make things really hard for you. So you can spend a lot of time drilling and really not get back what you really hope to from what you're putting in. So that's why I changed and I stopped drilling and I started doing other things. So, sorry. What I do now instead is I do like specific training more. So what I'll do is I'll go to a certain position. Let's say we're drilling guard passes. Okay, instead of drilling a guard pass the same way over and over again, I'll start from a certain position I need to work on, or I want to. And what I'll do is I'll pass from there, but I'll get my opponents or my training partners that I'm drilling with to react however they want to react. And I'll do whatever I feel is necessary to pass in that position. So I don't do the same thing over and over again. And what I do is I try and develop not only like the timing for the moves, but I also develop strategies and reactions. So I know after a while when someone does a certain thing, how to react to beat that, how to counter certain things, rather than just trying to implement my one guard pass, which really happens in actual competition, especially against high level guys. There's too many variables to have the same predictable pass over and over again. So I will start with my training partner. We start in a position. Let's say like I got two sleeve grips and he's got two spider grips on my arms with his feet. So and I'll try and pass from there, and I'll just do it however I see fit. And I always tell them to react how they feel like they would react in a normal competition. So it gives me a lot of real life training rather than just drilling against a dead dummy. The good thing about that is I try and change my partners or my drilling students all the time, and I try and pick people that aren't quite as good as me, because if I pick someone that's really good, it's going to be really hard to actually get the pass. And I do want to pass. I don't want to not be able to pass, but I want to do it in a manner that I can slow it down and make it more technical instead of rushing things. So that's why it's better to choose someone a little bit below you. So that's the way I like to train now. And like I said, the reason before, muscle memory is great if you're doing the same thing over and over again against the same object. Let's say things you use muscle memory for would be in like an assembly line for a job. Let's say you've got to put a certain nut on a certain bolt, and you want to keep doing that, and you do it the same way and over again. And over time, you become really efficient at screwing that nut on that bolt. Okay, so you do really well. So let's say in jiu-jitsu, if you've got the same opponent that reacts the same every single time, then you're going to kill him. Okay, because you're gonna understand that you're gonna have really good timing and muscle memory for that. Okay, but let's say every now and then they chuck a different size bolt in, or a different thread, or a different nut, and you try and screw that in the same way you've been doing. You're gonna find you're gonna start having difficulties and gonna get jammed up a little bit. So in jiu-jitsu, every time you roll on a different opponent, there's different variables. They not only do they react differently, they're also built differently. Okay, one might be flexible and fast, the other one might be slow and strong, fat, skinny, long, tall, whatever. So these are the kind of things that you're going to run into trouble with if you just think about drilling for muscle memory. So this is why I stopped drilling. I'm not saying you to stop drilling or you should stop drilling. I'm just saying this is why I don't drill. So I'm answering the question for all you guys out there wondering why I don't drill. You obviously can do whatever you want. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't like hearing this, as they're set in their ways from years ago, because that's basically how 100% of the schools are run. They teach technique, you drill and drill and drill, and then you do specific training and roll. Where it's just completely different the way I like doing it. I actually don't like to drill at all. I'll do specific training, and I'll try and pick up all the techniques during the specific training. Okay, so anyway, that's why. So take it or leave it. Have a good day.